Hello and welcome back to the Dr. Brooke Scheller Show. Today we're tackling a profoundly important question. Is your anxiety or depression being fueled by a starving brain? We're going to cover some of the essential nutrient deficiencies linked to mood disorders. We'll discuss how lifestyle factors, especially alcohol use, worsen the problem, how you can find out if your levels are low, and the exact steps that you need to take to rebuild your mental health with nutrition. First, let's look at why so many of us are depleted in nutrients. It's often a combination of factors, starting with alcohol consumption. Alcohol is a major drain on your nutrient resources. It depletes you in several ways, including things like decreasing your absorption. It damages your gut lining, and the enzymes needed to break down and absorb nutrients. It also increases your need for nutrients. The detoxification process of alcohol requires a huge amount of nutrients to support the metabolism of alcohol, leaving you with fewer resources for your brain. Alcohol also increases excretion. It's a diuretic, so it causes you to flush out many of your water-soluble vitamins, like the B vitamins. And because nutrients like folate and B12 are stored in the liver, they are especially at risk. But it's not just alcohol. Chronic stress also causes you to burn through magnesium and B vitamins rapidly to fuel the cortisol response. Certain medications like acid blockers, birth control pills, and others can block the absorption of many nutrients, including B12 and folate. And of course, a diet that is lacking in nutrients is a big concern. High consumption of processed foods and not enough fruits and veggies is going to lack the appropriate micronutrients that we need for optimal body and brain function. This leads to what I like to call a state of functional deficiency, where your brain lacks the building blocks it needs to protect the structure and produce the calming and mood-enhancing neurotransmitters within your brain. So how do you know if you're deficient? Well, symptoms are one of the first clues. Persistent fatigue, brain fog, difficulty with focus, anxiety, apathy, but we also need clinical data. Ask your doctor for key blood work, but understand that standard lab ranges are often too wide for us to get an idea of optimal function for brain health. Specifically, I suggest testing things like iron and ferritin. Ferritin is your stored form of iron, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and folate, and sometimes even specialized tests for red blood cell magnesium or even an omega-3 index. So to give you more of an idea of these broad lab ranges, let's use the example of iron. The standard lab range for iron is about 35 to 150, which is a pretty wide range. And if your level is a 36, it's going to look normal, even though it's all the way at the bottom of the range. So we need to look at these discrepancies within our lab tests. In addition to iron, we need to test the storage form of iron called ferritin. This often paints us a better picture of iron status as a whole. Iron levels can look normal, but ferritin levels can be low, indicating a true need for more iron. So let's focus on the essentials, the fuel for your brain's function, energy, and mood. Magnesium is essential for activating the GABA receptor. It's your brain's calming switch, your calming neurotransmitter. And when we're deficient in magnesium, we'll have trouble with relaxation and sleep, two of the key reasons that we use alcohol. The B vitamins, including folate, B6, and B12, these are mandatory cofactors for synthesizing every major neurotransmitter in your brain. This includes serotonin and dopamine, two of our brain's feel-good hormones. Without sufficient B vitamins, you'll likely experience low mood and energy. Omega-3s are another critical factor. These are the structural fats that make up our brain's cell membranes and reduce overall inflammation in the brain. Vitamin D acts more like a hormone than a vitamin, directly influencing the expression of genes involved in mood regulation. Iron deficiency, especially common in women of menstrual age, can influence mood through the production of energy and neurotransmitter levels. I also like to focus on zinc, which is another mineral that is critical for the production of neurotransmitters and our stress response. So let's dive a little bit deeper into a few of these specific deficiencies and how they can manifest in our mood. So let's go back to that magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency is profoundly linked with anxiety. When our magnesium is low, our body gets stuck in the sympathetic nervous system, aka our fight or flight response, and it gets stuck in the on position. This can lead to muscle tension, difficulty with relaxation, racing thoughts, and sleep difficulties. Now let's talk about vitamin B12 and folate, two of our critical B vitamins, as a major driver of depression and fatigue. Low levels of these vitamins impair what we call the methylation cycle. This is a crucial process that converts raw amino acids from protein into our mood stabilizing neurotransmitters, again, like serotonin and dopamine. If we can't methylate properly, we can't make enough of these important feel-good neurotransmitters. And another one of my favorites, omega-3. Omega-3 deficiency is linked to the risk of major depressive disorder. Research consistently shows that a low omega-3 index is correlated with higher systemic inflammation. Inflammation attacks the brain, impairs communication, and is one of the strongest predictors of mood disorders. Research shows that the use of an omega-3 supplement can even improve the efficacy of an antidepressant medication like an SSRI. So if you are on an SSRI and still not feeling better, omega-3 may be the trick. Now remember, if you're regularly consuming alcohol, you're actively increasing your need for the exact nutrients that we need for supporting our brain health. We're inhibiting their absorption and setting up a perfect storm for mood instability. Now, the path to stabilizing your mood starts with eating the right foods and considering targeted supplementation. Now, number one is focus on a nutrient-dense diet. You're probably thinking, Dr. Brooke, every nutritionist is going to say to eat healthier, but you want to focus on food sources rich in these nutrients like fatty fish for omega-3s, leafy greens and nuts for magnesium and folate, and high quality animal protein, including eggs for vitamin B12. I also like to suggest foods that help with methylation, including beets, broccoli, and other cruciferous veggies, plus garlic and onion. You can also consider strategic supplementation. Try a activated B complex daily. This can be really helpful for supporting mood and energy. Using magnesium glycinate, especially in the evening, can help with relaxation and sleep. And prioritizing a high-dose omega-3 supplement with at least 1,600 milligrams of EPA and DHA. Of course, you always want to check with your doctor before adding any new supplements, as supplements can be contraindicated with medications or certain health concerns. And get your levels tested. We can only take this information so far without more data, so that's where lab testing like blood work comes in really handy. If you haven't had extensive blood work done within the last year, it's time to schedule an appointment. You can take a list of these tests to your doctor to request. Most of them are okay with you including them. I would suggest adding things like vitamin D, vitamin B12, iron, ferritin, zinc, and even request an omega-3 test if possible. This will help you to gain better insight onto your actual levels and where you need to bridge the gaps. So the lesson today is don't just accept a mental health symptom or a diagnosis without digging deeper into the nutritional aspect. By addressing some of these foundational nutrient deficiencies, you're giving your brain all of the tools that it needs to regulate your mood and find more stability. If this show is helping you feel better, please hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget that paid subscribers also get additional content, tips, and behind the scenes, including additional information down below. And your action step for this week: if you are dealing with mood issues, talk to your clinician about running a comprehensive blood panel for the nutrients that we discussed. And you may want to explore my online course, The Alcohol-Free Nutrition Edge, where you can access lab testing and get more information on replenishing these deficiencies. Remember that more information and data is power. Oh, and don't forget to check out my Dry January plan. This is perfect for anyone who's looking to get started on an alcohol reduction or elimination journey, or if you're looking to get back on track with your alcohol-free goals. And that's all for me, and I'll see you next time on the Dr. Brooke Scheller Show. Thanks for being here.